Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we will take a look at the progressives. And basically, the progressive movement really is a movement to make life better, to make everyday life a little bit better for the average person. When you think of the average person, you think of a typical worker, who has to work to survive, not super rich, not super poor, but just, sort of middle class. And laws that they wanted to be changed, a lot of it you can maybe even see here, well, like down with monopoly, mentioning here honest men. And so the idea was that the economic system was rigged against the average person, not in their favor. And so the progressive movement wanted to change that. Again, something that focused on the best interest of the average everyday person. Florence Kelly was one of the reformers, and you could say that she wanted to make everyday life for the average person better. And her big thing was to stop child labor. And we talk about child labor. It's not like, you guys have a job after school or something like that. You might work, I don't know, 10, 15 hours a week, if that. We're talking about kids who, as young as the age of 7 and 8, they were working full time jobs in very dangerous conditions. And obviously, if you are working full time, it means that you're not going to school, and the chances for you to, excuse me, to raise yourself up and achieve better things is very limited because you don't have the opportunity to go to school. Prohibition. We'll certainly talk about this quite a bit. It was known as the Noble Experiment, and of course, the idea behind of it was to make the sale, use, or production of alcohol illegal. Now, of course, this created many, many problems. The biggest of which was probably organized crime, which came in and filled the role of producing and smuggling alcohol into the United States. But other than that, you really, really had a loss of respect for the rule of law, excuse me, mainly because there was so much illegal alcohol consumption going on, and it happened basically right under the noses of law enforcement, and they just tended to look the other way. Among other things, though, many, many, many businesses went out of business producing alcohol. They were, shut down, went out of business, and people lost money, and the government had to spend a lot of money in order to enforce prohibition. So instead of getting tax money, from taxing alcohol, and they ended up losing that money and having to pay more money to enforce it, and the enforcement didn't even work. So really, every single thing that they planned about prohibition being this great, moral experiment that's going to make life better, um, basically turned out to be a ridiculous failure. Muckrakers. I guess this is a picture of when you see a muck and there's someone raking the muck. But what it really is, it's just a writer, a journalist, who exposes corruption, um, typically in politics or business, and would be what we'd probably call nowadays investigative journalists, who would focus on a particular issue or particular industry, and go deep down and look for all the secrets about that industry. Scientific management. This is sort of when you use the laws of science, and mainly about math and design and engineering, to make work more efficient. Maybe put tools in a particular area that you don't have to walk as far to get them, or maybe streamline the assembly line. It's really what it says is using scientific ideas and analysis to make work more efficient. Fighting Bob, Robert M. La Follette. That's how you pronounce it, La Follette. Again, progressive, worked for the everyday people, and he was a governor and a senator from Wisconsin. Initiative. Well, November, or here in a few days, on Tuesday actually, it's going to be an opportunity for many people, at least in California, to vote on laws that were proposed by the citizens. One of the big ones, of course, is this thing about Soccer City versus SDSU West, and Soccer City was put on the ballot by individual business people, and SDSU West was put on the ballot by Friends with San Diego State, and we get to vote as citizens. We get to vote on whether or not we think those are good laws. And so an initiative not available in every state, by the way. California obviously does have them, but it really is just a way for people to propose laws directly without having to wait for the government to come up with a law. Referendum is just the process of voting on that initiative. And so, obviously, if you vote yes, it passes, and no, it does not pass. Recall. This is when someone already has been elected and a vote to remove a public official from office. This is not impeachment. This does not mean that they committed a crime or anything like that. This just means that people think that whoever is in office, whoever was elected, is just doing such a bad job that we need to remove them before their term is over because it's just becoming an absolute disaster. 17th Amendment, I know this is not one that we really think about a lot, but before, people did not direct, or I'm sorry, people did not elect their senators directly. The government elected their senators for them, which is kind of odd. So the idea of electing senators to be elected directly, the idea behind it was that, well, we're putting more power in people's hands because now the people are the ones that get to choose who will be their senators. And that is it for today. Thank you for watching.